남규태방송 시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까? 오늘은 2023년 5월 3일 수요일입니다. 현재 시간은 오후 11시, 오후 10시 37분입니다. 남규태방송 성경공부 473회 방송을 시작하겠습니다. 성경은 열왕기상 3장부터 영문으로 읽어보겠습니다. Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and married his daughter. He brought her to the city of David until he finished during his place and the temple of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. The people, however, were still sacrificing at high places because temple had not yet been built for the name of the Lord. Solomon showed his love for the Lord by working according to the instructions given him by his father David, except that he offered sacrifices and burned incense on the high places. The king went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices, for that was the most important high place, and Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar at Gibeon. The Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Solomon answered, "You have shown a great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you and righteous." And upright in heart. You have continued this great kindness to him, and have given him a son to sit on his throne this very day. Now, Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David, but I am only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, great people to numerous to counter or murder. So give your servant this discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong for who is able to govern this great people of yours. The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to him, since you have asked for this and not for long life or else for yourself, nor have asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice. I will do what you have asked. You have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. And if you work in obedience to me and keep my decrees and commands as David your father did, I will give you a long life. Then Solomon awoke and he realized it had been a dream. He returned to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the Lord's covenant, and sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then he gave a feast for all his court. Now to prostitute came to the king and stood before him. One of them said, "Pardon me, my lord, this woman and I live in the same house, and I had a baby while she was there with me. The third day after my child was born. This woman also had a baby. We were alone. There was no one in the house but two of us." During the night, this woman's son died because she lay on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while I, your servant, was asleep. She put him by her breast and put her dead son by my priest. The next morning, I got up to immerse my son, and he was dead. But when I looked at him closely in the morning light, I saw that it wasn't the son I had born. The other woman said, "No, the living one is my son. The dead one is yours." But the first one insisted, "No, the dead one is yours. The living one is mine." And so they argue before the king. The king said, "This one says, my son is alive and your son is dead." While that one says, "No, your son is dead and mine is alive." Then the king said, "Bring me a sword." So they brought a sword for the king. He then gave an order, cut the living child in two and give half to one and half to the other. The woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of love for her, and said to the king, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him." But the other said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in two." Then the king gave his ruling, give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother. When all Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because they saw that he had wisdom from God to administer justice. So King Solomon ruled over all Israel, and these were his chief officials: Azariah, son of Zadok, the priest, Elihorefu, and Ahijah, sons of Shisa, secretaries, Jehoshaphat, son of Ahirod, recorder, Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, commander in chief, Zadok and Abiada, priests, Azariah, son of Nathan, in Karji of the district governors. Jabad, son of Nathan, priest, and the Bezer to the king. He is police administrator. Adoniram, son of Ebda, in charge of post labor. Solomon had 12 district governors over all Israel who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to provide supplies for 1 month in the year. These are their names. Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim, Ben-Deker in Makaz, Saul, Bim, Beth, Shemesh, and Elon, Beth Hanan, Ben-Hesed in Arubas, Soko, and all the land of Hepher were his. Ben Abinadab in Napos, he was married to Tapas, daughter of Solomon. Baana, son of Ahirod, in Tanach and Megiddo, and in all of Beth Shan, next to Jared's son, below Jezreel, from Beth Shan to Abel Mehorah, close to Jokmim, Ben Geber in Ramos Gilead, the settlement of Jair, son of Manasseh in Gilead, were his, as well as the region of Galgob in Bashan and its 60 large walled cities with bronze gateways. Ahinadab, son of Edo, in Ma'anaim, Ahimaaz in Naphtali, had married Basemes, daughter of Solomon. Baana, son of Hosea, and Esther, and in Aros, Jehoshaphat, son of Paroah, in Isaacar, Shimei, son of Ella, in Benjamin, Geber, son of Uri, in Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the country of Og, king of Bashan. He was the only governor over the district. The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the shore. They ate, they drank, and they were happy. And Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms from the Euphrates river to the land of the Philistines, as far as the border of Egypt. These countries brought tribute and were Solomon's subjects all his life. Solomon's daily provisions were 30 cores of the finest flour and 60 cores of meal, 10 head of store-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelles, raw books, and choice fowl. For he ruled over all the kingdoms west of the Euphrates River. From Tifosha to Gaza, and had peace on all sides. During Solomon's lifetime, Judah and Israel, from then to Beersheba, lived in safety, everyone under their own vine and under their own fig tree. Solomon had power thousand stalls for carry horses and 12,000 horses. The district governors, each in his months, supplied provisions for King Solomon and all who came to the king's table. They saw to it that nothing was lacking. They also brought to the proper place their quotas of barley and barley. And straw for the chariot horses and the other horses. God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight and breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the people of the East, and greater than all the wisdom of Egypt. He was wiser than anyone else, including even the Ezrahite. wiser than He-Man, Kel, Cole, and Dalda, the sons of Mahol, and his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. He spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs numbered 1,005. He spoke about parental life from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out our walls. He also spoke about animals and birds, reptiles, and fish from all nations. People came to listen to Solomon's wisdom. Sent by all the kings of the world who had heard of his wisdom. When Hiram, king of Tyre, heard that Solomon had been anointed king to succeed his father David, he sent his invoice to Solomon because he had always been on friendly terms with David. Solomon sent back this message to Hiram. You know that because of the wars waged against my father, David from all sides, he could not build a temple for the name of the Lord his God until the Lord put his enemies under his feet. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side, and there is no other adversity or disaster. I intend therefore to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord told my father David, when he said, your son, whom I will put on the throne in your place, will build the temple for my name. So give orders that cedars of Lebanon be cut for me. My men will work with yours, and I will pay you for your men whatever wages you set. You know that we have no one so skilled in felling timber as the Sidonians. When Hiram heard Solomon's message, he was greatly pleased and said, praise be to the Lord today, for he has given David a wise son to rule over this great nation. Hiram sent word to Solomon, I have received the message you sent me and will do all you want in providing the cedar and the journey for laws. My men will haul them down from Lebanon to the Mediterranean Sea, and I will brought them as a refuge by sea to the place you specify. There I will separate them, and you can take them away, and you are to grant my wish by providing food for my royal household. In this way, Hiram kept Solomon supplied with all the cedar and juniper logs he wanted, and Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household, in addition to 20,000 pesos of blessed olive oil. Solomon continued to do this for Hiram year after year. The Lord gave Solomon wisdom, just as he had promised him. The real peaceful relations between Hiram and Solomon, and the two of them made a treaty. King Solomon conscripted laborers from all Israel, 30,000 men. He sent them over to Lebanon in ships of 10,000 a month, so that they spent 1 month in Lebanon and 2 months at home. Adoniram was in charge of the forced labor. Solomon had 70,000 carriers and 80,000 stone cutters in the hills, as well as 3,300 poor men who supervised the project and directed the workers. At the king's command, they removed from the quarry large blocks of high-grade stone to provide a foundation of dressed stone for the temple. The craftsmen of Solomon and Hiram and workers from Babylon cut and prepared the timber and the stone for the building of the temple. And the 480th year after the Israelites came out of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's Reagan over Israel in the month of Jiv, the second month. He began to build the temple of the Lord. The temple that King Solomon built for the Lord was 60 cubits long, 20 wide, and 30 high. The portico at the front of the main hall of the temple extended the width of the temple that is 20 cubits and projected 10 cubits from the front of the temple. He made narrow windows high up in the temple walls. Against the walls of the main hall and the inner sanctuary, he built a structure around the building in which there were side rooms. The lowest floor was 5 cubits, while the middle floor 6 cubits, and the third floor 7. He made opposite ledges around the outside of the temple so that nothing would be inserted into the temple walls. In building the temple, only blocks dressed at the quarry were used and no hammer, chisel, or any other iron tool was heard at the temple site while it was being built. The entrance to the lowest floor was on the south side of the temple. A stairway led up to the middle level and from there to the third. So he built the temple and completed it, roofing it with beams and cedar planks. And he built the side rooms all along the temple. The height of each was 5 cubits, and they were attached to the temple by beams of cedar. The word of the Lord came to Solomon. As for this temple you are building, if you follow my decrees, observe my laws, and keep all my commands and obey them, I fulfill through you to promise I gave to David, your father, and I will live among the Israelites and will not abandon my people Israel. So Solomon built the temple and completed it. He lined its interior walls with cedar boards, pinning them from the floor of the temple to the ceiling, and covered the floor of the temple with the plants of juniper. He partitioned off 20 cubits at the rear of the temple with cedar boards from floor to ceiling to from within the temple, an inner sanctuary, the most holy place. The main hall in front of this room was 40 cubits long. The inside of the temple was cedar carved with gourds and open floors. Everything was cedar, no stone was to be seen. He prepared the inner sanctuary within the temple to set the ark of the covenant of the Lord there. The inner sanctuary was 20 cubits long, 20 wide, and 20 high. He overlaid the inside with pure gold, and he also overlaid the altar of leader of cedar. Solomon covered the inside of the temple with pure gold, and he extended gold chains across the front of the inner sanctuary, which was overlaid with gold. So he overlaid the whole interior with gold. He also overlaid with gold the altar that belonged to the inner sanctuary. For the inner sanctuary, he made a pair of cherubim out of olive wood, each 10 cubits high. One wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits long, and the other wing 5 cubits, 10 cubits from wing tip to wing tip. The second cherub also measured 10 cubits. For the two cherubim were identical in size and shape. The height of each cherub was 10 cubits. He placed the cherubim inside the innermost room of the temple with their wings spread out. The wing of one cherub touched one wall. While the wing of the other touched the other wall, and their wings touched each other in the middle of the room. He overlaid the cherubim with gold on the walls all around the temple, in both the inner and outer rooms. He covered the cherubim palm trees and open flowers. He also covered the floors of both the inner and the outer rooms of the temple with gold. For the entrance to the inner sanctuary, he made doors of olive wood that were 1/5 of the width of the sanctuary, and on the two olive wood doors he carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, and overlaid the cherubim and palm trees with hammered gold. In the same way, for the entrance to the main hall, he made door frames out of olive wood that were 1/4 of the width of the hall. He also made two doors out of juniper wood, each having two rivers that turned in sockets. He carved cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers on them, and overlaid them with gold hammered evenly over the carvings. And he built the inner courtyard of 3 courses of dressed stone and 1 course of trimmed cedar beams. The foundation of the temple of the Lord was laid in the first year, in the month of Jib, in the 11th year, in the month of Ber, the 8th month. The temple was finished in all its details according to its specifications. He had spent 7 years building it. It took Solomon 13 years, however, to complete the construction of his place. He built the place of the forest of Lebanon, 100 cubits long, 50 wide, and 30 high, with 4 rows of cedar columns supporting trimmed cedar beams. It was roofed with cedar above the beams that rested on the columns. 45 beams, 15 to row. Its windows were placed high in sets of 3 facing each other. All the doorways had rectangular flames. They were in the front port in sets of three, facing each other. He made a colonnade 50 cubits long and 30 wide. In front of it was a portico, and in front of that were pillars and an overhanging roof. He built the throne hall, the hall of justice, where he was to judge, and he covered it with cedar from floor to ceiling. And the place in which he was to live, said Father Beck, was similar in design. Solomon also made a place like this hall for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had married. All these structures, from the outside to the great count, the courtyard, and from foundation to eaves, were made of blocks of high-grade stone, cut to size and smoothed on their inner and outer faces. The foundations were laid with large stones of a good quality, some measuring 10 cubits and some 8. Above were high-grade stones cut to size, and cedar beams. The great courtyard was surrounded by all of three courses of dressed stone, and one course of trimmed cedar beams, as was the inner courtyard of the temple of the Lord with its portico. King Solomon sent to Tyre and brought Huram, whose mother was a widow from the tribe of Naphtali, and whose father was from Tyre, and skilled craftsman in bronze. Huram was filled with wisdom, with understanding, and with with knowledge to do all kinds of bronze work. He came to King Solomon and did all the work assigned to him. He cast 2 bronze pillars, each 18 cubits high and 12 cubits in circumference. He also made 2 capitals of cast bronze to set on the tops of the pillars. Each capital was 5 cubits high. A network of interwoven chains adorned the capitals on top of the pillars, 7 for each capital. He made pomegranate in 2 rows. Encircling each network to decorate the capitals on top of the pillars. He did the same for each capital. The capitals on top of the pillars in the portico were in the shape of relies 4 cubits high on the capitals of both pillars above the bowl-shaped part next to the network, where the 200 pomegranates in rows all around. He erected the pillars at the portico of the temple. The pillar to the south he named Jachin, and the one to the north Boaz. The capitals on top were in the shape of derides. And so the work on the pillars was completed. He made the sea of cast metal circular in shape, measuring 10 cubits from rim to rim and 5 cubits high. It takes a line 30 cubits to measure around it. A broad rim gold gowards encircled it 10 to a cubit. The gowards were cast in 2 rows in one piece with the sea. The sea stood on 12 poles, 3 facing north, 3 facing west. 3 facing south and 3 facing east. The sea rested on top of them, and their hind quarters were toward the center. It was hand breeds in thickness, and its rim was like the rim of a cup, like a lily blossom. It held 2,000 vessels. He also made 10 movable stands of bronze. Each was 4 cubits long, 4 wide, and 3 high. This is how the stands were made. They had side panels attached to uprights. On the panels between the uprights were lions, birds, and cherubim, and on the uprights as well. Above and below the lions and birds were pieces of hammered work. Each stand had 4 bronze wheels with bronze axles, and each had a basin resting on 4 supports cast with leaders on each side. On the inside of the stand, there was an opening then that had a circular flame on cubit deep. This opening was round, and with its base work it measured a cubit and a half. Around its opening there was engraving the panels of the stands were square, not round. The 4 wheels were under the panels, and the axles of the wheels were attached to the stand. The diameter of each wheel was a cubit and a half. The wheels were made like a chariot. Wheels, the axles, rims, spokes, and hubs were all of cast metal. Each stand had 4 handles, one on each corner, projecting from the stand. At the top of the stand, there was a circular band, half a cubit deep. The supports and panels were attached to the top of the stand. He engraved cherubim, lions, and palm trees on the surfaces of the supports and on the panels. In every available space with wreaths all around. This is the way he made the 10 stands. They were all cast in the same molds and were identical in size and shape. He then made 10 bronze basins, each holding 40 passes and measuring 4 cubits across one basin to go on each of the 10 stands. He placed 5 of the stands on the south side of the temple and 5 on the north. He placed the sea on the south side at the south east corner of the temple. He also made the pots and sabers and sprinkling bowls. So Huram finished all the work he had undertaken for King Solomon in the temple of the Lord. The 2 pillars, the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 2 sets of network decorating the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 400 pomegranates for the 2 sets of network, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network, decorating the bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars. The 10 stands with their 10 basins, the sea and the 12 birds under it, the pots, shovels, and sprinkling bowls. All these objects that Huram made for King Solomon for the temple of the Lord were of burnished bronze. The king had them cast in clay molds in the plain of the Jordan between Sukkot and Jordan. Solomon left all these things unweighed because there were so many. The weight of the bronze was not determined. Solomon also made all the furnishings that were in the Lord's temple, the golden altar, the golden table on which was the bread of the presence, the lampstands of pure gold, 5 on the right and 5 on the left in front of the inner sanctuary. The gold floral work and the lamps and the tongues. The pure gold basins with 3 moles, sprinkling bowls, dishes, and censers. and the gold sockets for the doors of the innermost room, the most holy place, and also for the doors of the main hall of the temple. When all the work King Solomon had done for the temple of the Lord was finished, he brought in the things his father David had dedicated, the silver and gold and the punishings, and he placed them in the treasuries of the Lord's temple. Then King Solomon summoned into his presence at Jerusalem the elders of Israel, all the heads of the tribes and the chiefs of the Israelite families to bring up the ark of the Lord's covenant from Gio, the city of David. All the Israelites came together to King Solomon at the time of the festival in the month of Esnin, the seventh month. When all the elders of Israel had arrived, the priests took up the ark, and they brought up the ark of the Lord and the tent of meeting and all the sacred furnishings in it. The priests and the Levites carried them up, and the King Solomon and the entire assembly of Israel that had gathered about him were before the ark, sacrificing so many sheep and cattle that they could not be recorded or counted. The priests then brought the ark of the Lord's covenant to its place in the inner sanctuary of the temple, the most holy place, and put it beneath the kings of the cherubim. The cherubim spread their wings over the place of the ark and overshadowed the ark and its carrying poles. These poles were so long that their ends could be seen from the holy place in front of the inner sanctuary, but not from outside the holy place, and they are still there today. There was nothing in the ark except the two stone tablets that Moses had placed in it at Horeb, where the Lord made covenant with the Israelites after they came out of Egypt. When the priests withdrew from the holy place, they could feel the temple of the Lord, and the priests could not perform their service because of the cloud. For the glory of the Lord filled his temple. Then Solomon said, "The Lord has said that he would dwell in a dark cloud. I have indeed built a magnificent temple for you, a place for you to dwell forever." While the whole assembly of Israel was standing there, the king turned around and blessed them. Then he said, "Praise be to the Lord, the King, the God of Israel, who with his own hand had fulfilled what he promised with his own mouth to my father David. For he said, since the day I brought my people Israel out of Egypt, I have not chosen a city in any tribe of Israel to have a temple built so that my name might be there, but I have chosen David to rule my people Israel. My father David had it in his heart to build a temple for the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. But the Lord said to my father David, "You did well to have it in your heart to build a temple for my name. Nevertheless, you are not the one to build the temple, but your son, your own flesh and blood. He is the one who will build the temple for my name. The Lord has kept the promise he made. I have succeeded. David, my father, and now I sit on the throne of Israel, just as the Lord promised, and I have built the temple for the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. I have provided a place there for the ark, in which is the covenant of the Lord that He made with our ancestors when He brought them out of Egypt. Then Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in front of the whole assembly of Israel, spread out his hands toward heaven, and said, "Lord, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth below. You who keep your covenant of love with your servants, who continue wholeheartedly in your way. You have kept your promise to your servant David, my father, with your mouth you have promised, and with your hand you have fulfilled it as it is today. Now, Lord, the God of Israel, keep for your servant David, my father, the promises you made to him when you said, "You shall never fail to his successor to sit before me on the throne of Israel, if only your descendants descendants are careful in all they do to work before me peacefully as you have done. And now, God of Israel, let your word that you promised your servant David, my father, come true. But will God really dwell on also the heavens? Even the highest heaven cannot contain you. How much less this temple I have built, yet give attention to your servant's prayer and his plea for mercy. Lord my God, hear the cry and the prayer that your servant is praying in your presence this day. May your eyes be open toward this temple night and day, this place of which you said, my name shall be there, so that you will hear the prayer your servant prays toward this place. Hear the supplication of your servant and of your people Israel when they pray toward this place. Hear from heaven your dwelling place, and when you hear, forgive. When anyone longs their neighbor and is required to take on us before your altar in this temple, then hear from heaven and act, judge between your servant, condemning the guilty by bringing down on their heads that what they have done, and vindicating the innocent by treating them in accordance with their innocence. When your people Israel have been defeated by an enemy because they have sinned against you, and when they turn back to you and give praise to your name, praying and making supplication to you in this temple, then hear from heaven and forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them back to the land you gave to their ancestors. When the heavens shut up and there is no rain because your people have sinned against you, and when they pray toward this place and give praise to your name and turn from their sin, because you have afflicted them, then hear from heaven and forgive the sin of your servant, your people Israel. Teach them the right way to live, and send rain on the land you gave your people for an inheritance. When famine or plague comes to the land, all blight, all mildew, locusts, or grasshoppers, all when an enemy besieges them in any of the cities, whatever disaster or disease may come, and when prayer or plea in made by anyone among your people Israel, being aware of the afflictions of their own hearts and spreading out their hands toward this temple, then hear from heaven your dwelling place, forgive and act dear with everyone according to all they do, since you know their hearts, for you alone now know every human heart, so that they will fear you all the time they live in the land you gave our ancestors. As for the foreigner who does not belong to your people Israel, but has come from a distant land because of your name, for they will hear of your great name and your mighty hand and your stretched arm when they come and pray toward this temple, then hear from heaven your dwelling place to whatever the foreigner asks of you, so that all the peoples of the earth may know your name and fear you, as do your own people Israel, and may know that this house I have built bears your name. When your people go to war against the enemies, wherever you send them, and when they pray to the Lord toward the city you have chosen and the temple I have built for your name, then hear from heaven they'll play and they'll plea and uphold their cause when they sin against you, for there is no one who does not sin, and you become angry with them and give them over to their enemies, who take them captive to their own lands, for away or near, and if they have a charge of hurt in their land where they are held captive, and repent and plead with you in the land of their captors, and say, we have sinned, we have done wrong, we have acted wickedly, and if they turn back to you with all their heart and soul in the land of their enemies who took them captive and prayed to you toward the land you gave their ancestors, toward the city you who have chosen and the temple. I have built for you name. Then from heaven your dwelling place, hear their prayer and their prayer, and uphold their cause, and forgive your people who have sinned against you. Forgive all the offenses they have committed against you, and cause their captors to show them mercy, for they are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out of Egypt, out of that in iron smelting furnace. May your eyes be open to your servant, and to the prayer of your people Israel, and may you listen to them whenever they cry out to you for your sign. For you singled them out from all the nations of the world to be your own inheritance, just as you declared through your servant Moses when you sovereign Lord, brought our ancestors out of Egypt. When Solomon had finished all these prayers and supplications to the Lord, he rose from before the altar of the Lord, where he had been kneeling with his hands spread out toward heaven. He stood and blessed the whole assembly of Israel in a loud voice, saying, Praise be to the Lord, who has given rest to his people Israel, just as he promised. Not one word has failed of all the good promises he gave through his servant Moses. May the Lord our God be with us as he was with our ancestors. May he never leave us nor forsake us. May he turn our hearts to him to work in obedience to him and keep the commands, decrees, and laws he gave our ancestors, and may these words of mine, which I have prayed before the Lord, be near to the Lord our God day and night, that he may uphold the cause of his servant and the cause of his people Israel according to each day's need, so that all the people the earth may know that the Lord is God and that there is no other, and may you hold hold here but here be fully committed to the Lord our God, to live by His decrees and obey His commands as at this time. Then the king and all Israel with him offered sacrifices before the Lord. Solomon offered the sacrifice of fellowship offerings to the Lord. 22,000 cattle and 120,000 sheep and goats. So the king and all the Israelites dedicated the temple of the Lord. On the same day, the king consecrated the middle part of the courtyard in front of the temple of the Lord, and there he offered burnt offerings, grain offerings, and the fat of the fellowship offerings, because the bronze altar that stood before the Lord was too small to hold the burnt offerings, the grain offerings, and the fat of the fellowship offerings. So Solomon observed the festival at that time, and all Israel with him, best assembly, people from Ibo, Hemes to the Wadi of Egypt. They celebrated it before the Lord our God for 7 days, and 7 days more, for 10 days in all. On the following day, he sent the people away. They blessed the king, and the 10 went home joyful and glad in heart for all the good things the Lord had done for his servant David and his people Israel. When Solomon had finished building the temple of the Lord and the royal place, and had achieved all he had desired to do, the Lord appeared to him a second time, as he had appeared to him at Gibeon. The Lord said to him, I have heard the prayer and pray you have made before me. I have consecrated this temple which you have built by putting my name there forever. My eyes and my heart will always be there. As for you, if you work before me peacefully with integrity of heart and rightness, as David your father did, and to all I command and observe my decrees and laws, I will establish your a loyal throne over Israel forever, as I promised David your father when I said, you shall never fail to have a successor on the throne of Israel. Pray you or your descendants turn away from me and do not observe the commands and decrees I have given you, and go off to serve other gods and worship them. Then I will cut off Israel from the land I have given them, and will reject this temple I have consecrated for me, for my name. Israel will then become byword and an object of ridicule among all peoples. This temple will become a heap of rubble. All who pass by will be appalled and will scoff and say, why has the Lord done such a thing to this land and to this temple? People will answer, because they have forsaken the Lord their God, who brought the ancestors out of Egypt, and they have embraced the other gods, worship and serving them. That is why the Lord brought all this disaster on them. At the end of 20 years, during which Solomon built these two buildings, the temple of the Lord and the royal place, King Solomon gave 20 towns in Galilee to Hiram, king of Tyre, because Hiram had supplied him with all the cedar and juniper and gold he wanted. But when Hiram went from Tyre to see the towns that Solomon had given him, he was not pleased with them. What kind of stones these you have given me, my brother? He asked, and he called them the land of Kabul, name day up to this day. Now Hiram had sent to the king 100 20 talents of gold. Here is the account of the first rebel king Solomon conscripted to build the Lord's temple. His own place the traces the wall of Jerusalem and Hazer, Megiddo and Gezer. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had attacked and captured Gezer. He had set it on fire. He killed its Canaanite inheritance and then gave it as a wedding gift to his daughter, Solomon's wife. And Solomon rebuilt Gezer. He built up Rower, Bethel, Horon, Baal, and Tedmer in the desert within his land, as well as all his store citizens, the towns for his chariots and for his horses. Whatever he desired to build in Jerusalem, in Lebanon, and throughout all the territory he ruled. There were still people left from the Amorites, Hivites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. These people were not Israelites. Solomon conscripted the descendants of all these peoples remaining in the land, whom the Israelites could not terminate to serve as slave labor, as it is to this day. But Solomon did not make slaves of any of the Israelites. They were his fighting men, his government officials, his officers, his captains, and the commanders of his chariots and charioteers. They were also the chief officials in charge of Solomon's project. 50 officers supervising those who did the work. After Pharaoh's daughter had come up from the city of David to the palace Solomon had built for her, he constructed the terraces. Three times a year, Solomon sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings on the altar he had built for the Lord, burning incense before the Lord along with them, and so fulfilled temple obligations. King Solomon also built ships at Ezion Geber, which is near Las in Edom, on the shore of the Red Sea. And Hiram sent his men, sailors, who knew the sea, to serve in the fleet with Solomon's men. They sailed to Ophir and brought back 420 talents of gold, which they delivered to King Solomon. 성경공부 473회 방송은 여기서 종료하도록 하겠습니다. 성경을 열왕기상 3장에서 열왕기상 9장까지 영문으로 읽어봤습니다. 주기도문을 기도하고 473회 방송을 끝내겠습니다. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, And forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. 성경공부 473회 방송을 시청해 주신 분께 감사드리겠습니다. 다음 방송에서 다시 인사드리겠습니다. 안녕히 계십시오.